We live in a world that whispers a dangerous lie. It's a message we absorb from a young age, and honestly, it just gets louder as we grow. The lie is this: your worth is measured by your productivity. We are taught to believe that our value as human beings is directly tied to how much we can accomplish, how many tasks we can check off our lists, and, how busy we appear to others. This belief creates a culture of constant striving, a relentless race to do more, be more, and achieve more. It's a culture that wears exhaustion as a status symbol and treats rest not as a necessity, but as a luxury for the uncommitted. This deep-seated connection between our output and our self-worth is the very foundation of hustle culture. It's the voice in our head that shames us for taking a break, the one that tells us we are falling behind if we aren't constantly moving forward. We start to believe that an empty calendar is a sign of an empty life. We internalize the idea that if we are not producing something tangible, we are failing. This mindset is not just exhausting, it's disconnecting. When we feel that pull to do nothing, that heavy feeling we've been taught to call laziness, our first instinct is often shame. We criticize ourselves for our lack of motivation and push ourselves to keep going. But what if we chose a different path? What if, instead of shame, we chose curiosity? What if we asked ourselves, what is this feeling really about? More often than not, what we label as laziness is actually a powerful signal from our bodies and minds that something is wrong. It's a cry for help, not a sign of moral failure. This so-called laziness is frequently a mask for profound exhaustion. Consider the university student juggling multiple advanced courses, a part-time job, and the immense pressure to build a perfect resume for the future. When they find themselves unable to get out of bed to study on a Saturday, is that laziness? Or is it the logical outcome of a system that demands superhuman levels of energy and focus? It's their body's way of sending a desperate message: I cannot do this anymore. I need to stop. Ignoring this signal doesn't lead to success. It leads to a complete system shutdown. Burnout is another reality hiding behind the mask of laziness. It's a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged and excessive stress. An employee who was once passionate and driven might start missing deadlines, appearing disengaged, and struggling to care about their work. Their boss might see laziness, but the truth is, they have given everything they have until their well has run completely dry. Overwhelm is also a key factor. Sometimes the sheer volume of tasks, responsibilities, and decisions we face is paralyzing. When our to-do list is a mile long and every item feels urgent, it's easy to shut down completely. One of the most courageous things we can do in a culture that glorifies the hustle is to give ourselves permission to be still. This requires a radical redefinition of what we consider valuable. We have been conditioned to believe that action is always superior to inaction, that doing is always better than being. But this is a narrow and depleting way to live. Being a good person, a loving partner, a creative thinker, or a compassionate friend has very little to do with how many emails you can answer in an hour. Our intrinsic worth is not an item on a checklist. Constant work does not make you a better or more valuable human being. In fact, it often does the opposite. When we are perpetually in go mode, we become less patient, less empathetic, and less present. We might be excelling in our careers, but our relationships may be suffering. We might be accumulating wealth, but we may be spiritually and emotionally bankrupt. The grind disconnects us from our own humanity and from the humanity of others. We start to see people, including ourselves, as resources to be managed or obstacles to be overcome, rather than as souls to connect with. The truth is, our most creative ideas, our deepest insights, and our most profound moments of connection rarely happen when we are racing against the clock. They emerge in the spaces in between. They show up when we are on a long walk, taking a quiet shower, or simply staring out the window with no agenda. Stillness is not emptiness. It is the fertile ground where creativity, wisdom, and self-awareness can grow. By denying ourselves these moments of quiet, we are not just risking burnout. We are robbing ourselves of the very experiences that make life rich and meaningful. Embracing this requires us to let go of the shame that society has attached to rest. Living a wholehearted life means having the courage to be imperfect, the compassion to be kind to ourselves, and the connection that comes from believing we are enough. Hustle culture attacks all three of these pillars. It demands perfection, shames us for our human limitations, and disconnects us from our true needs. The antidote is to consciously and bravely choose a different path. This path begins with learning to set boundaries and honor the signals your body is sending you. Your body knows when you need to rest, long before your ego is willing to admit it. Learning to trust your body is a practice. It means paying attention to the subtle cues of fatigue, stress, and overwhelm. It means respecting those signals instead of overriding them with caffeine and willpower. When you feel tired, the answer isn't to feel guilty, it's to rest. When you feel overwhelmed, the answer isn't to push harder, it's to pause and reassess. Giving yourself permission to take a break, to sleep in, or to simply do nothing is not an act of weakness. It is an act of profound self-respect and a declaration that you are worthy of care. This journey requires us to cultivate self-compassion. We must learn to speak to ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer to a dear friend. When the inner critic starts shaming you for not doing enough, gently remind yourself that your worth is not for sale. It is not something you earn through achievement. You are enough right now in this moment. You deserve rest simply because you are human. This isn't about lowering expectations. It's about having realistic and humane expectations for yourself in an often unrealistic and inhumane world. Ultimately, reclaiming your life from the grip of hustle culture is about choosing authenticity over performance. It's about understanding that you are more than your productivity. You are a complex, beautiful human being who needs joy, connection, and stillness to thrive. Let go of the myth of laziness. Let go of the shame. Trust your limits, honor your needs, and have the courage to believe that you are worthy of a life that is not just productive, but also peaceful, joyful, and deeply fulfilling. You are enough. You do enough. You are worthy of rest.